It's the footballiest time of the year. With quarterbacks throwing and tailgaters ready for some brats and beer. It's the footballiest time of the year. It's the pig skinniest season of all. With Tebowing and Mile High Peyton's throwing, it's time for football. It's the pig skinniest time of the year.
Hi and hello, football fans. It's your old pal Dave Dameshek. What's going down? I hope all's well wherever you are. Welcome to episode number 185 of the Dave Dameshek football program, a.k.a. the season's beginning. And with that, we play one last time Dick Banks' great song there, the footballiest time of the year. The season is now, and I think we do have to change the Tebow line. I don't know if that's going to be relevant this year, or certainly into 2014. However, thanks to Dick Banks, let's say hello. It's arrived, Rank. We survived the long, hot summer, and now it is football season. Here he is, everybody, from NFL.com and from the NFL Network. You see him kibitzing about fantasy football and beyond just about every day now. Adam Rank, what's the poop, fella?
Hey, boss, thanks for having me. Like, seriously, thanks for having after Black Tie's repeated attempts
what's that about?
To get me off the show.
I know. People on Twitter have expressed concern. Is there a rift? What's going on? I said, what do you thought? Rank is a busy man. What do you want me to do? But it's good. It must feel good to know that there are people out there looking out for your best interest.
It is nice. I do appreciate that. What I don't appreciate is that Black Tie will go and look at my schedule and say, oh, Fantasy Live's on at 2 p.m. That's when we're going to do the podcast today, folks. 2 p.m. I mean, wait, there isn't any other time that the podcast booth, that Studio 66, the house that Dameshek built, there's no other time that we could do this other than 2 p.m. Eastern,
well, to be
5
fair,
p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. on the West Coast.
Well, this is when these football players are free, and to some degree, at least, Black Tie is beholden to that. All right, listen, Rank, let's look big picture. It's not about this minutia. It's about NFL season beginning 1 week after, or several days after, college football kicked off the football season. And at the time of this recording, Thursday Night Football is about to begin, so we don't know what the result of Peyton v. Flacco is going to be. But so what, because it's really about the first Sunday of the football season. That's the juicy time. Opening day, yes, in baseball, yes. Generations ago, that was the big day on the calendar. In my book, opening day of the regular season in football, that first Sunday, is arguably the very best day in sport, save maybe the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Those are among, and then I guess that Thursday or Friday of college basketball tournament going. But either way, how better, Rank, to start things off for the season? Then we're going to go through our picks, and we're going to catch up with our pal Handsome Hank, and maybe another surprise or two coming up for you. But how better to start this NFL season than with the guy who emerged really as our favorite NFL football player last year? We caught up with him in Tahoe a few weeks ago. Black Tie and I did. He's a mensch of mensches. He is the Green Bay linebacker, star linebacker. Here he is back on the show. AJ Hawk, what's the poop, fella?
How's it going, guys? Good to be back.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, and let's start with this. It is, at the time of our recording, the NFL football season is about to kick off. We're very excited, but quickly, tell us about how training camp went for you. Was it a pain in the butt?
Nah, training. I think the thought of training camp is always a lot tougher, a lot worse than what it actually is. Camp's fine. It's part of the deal, and I think. It's something that our coach does a good job of taking care of us and getting a lot of work in at the same time. But we are definitely excited to start the regular season, that's for sure.
All right, we'll get to that. And we also got to get a little Big Ten talk out of you, too, or Big Teen talk. But first, though, about training camp. So what happens? You get there. What time do you have to wake up every day?
It just depends. Our schedule usually, we would practice in the mornings, actually. So, you get up probably about 6:15.
Ugh. And then, so you go for 2 hours, right?
On the field?
Yeah.
2.5, 2:45. You know, this is rarely 2 hours or under.
It's hot and everything, and then what? Do you take a shower?
Yeah, you try to, but usually when you practice in the morning, we're going to field 2.5, 2:45, come right off the field, and then go work out. Go lift in the weight room, then maybe eat a little bit, take a quick shower, and then basically have meetings from like 1 p.m. until 8:30 at night, 9 o'clock. So then you go back out there then for a second practice? No, we're not allowed to have second practice.
No more
anymore.
two-a-days.
That's the thing.
Oh, right. Okay,
The
so
new
that's good.
CBA stopped two-a-days. I was part of two-a-days. You know, when my first 4 or 5 years, we had two-a-days.
Are you now one of those old guys who's like, you kids don't understand. We used to go through two-a-days.
Well, I really make sure to guard against being that guy because I always hated that guy. So I'll never sit there and be like, you kids these days with your phones and iPads, none of you even look up, technology's killing us, and I never want to be that old bitter guy ever.
Was that you're talking about Favre then, right there, right?
No. I've been lucky. I haven't had too many of those guys.
Well, what about that? Okay, that's a good way to get into the off-season stuff, some of the comments. What do you make about Greg Jennings giving it to Aaron Rodgers? I know you have to defend your teammate now, but were you like, what? That's not at all the Aaron Rodgers I know.
Of course. I mean, I would defend Aaron on that, all day. But, I'm not sure exactly what Greg's doing. I came in the same draft class as Greg, and we're really good friends. And, my kids are friends with his kids, and our wives are friends, all that stuff. But, I think Greg's just trying to get everyone riled up a little bit and get some excitement for that time when we play the Vikings twice a year.
I think he caught a couple of passes from Christian Ponder and was a little bitter. I think that's the perfect explanation.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be fun, and Greg knows. Me and Greg have a great relationship. I've told him a million times. I'm telling him in practice. I said, Greg, I can't wait for you to come across the middle. I'm going to blast you. And so now he's actually on the other team. So it's going to be fun.
Well, speaking of that, your pal Clay, the copycat who copied your flaxen locked hairdo, and even after you've since cut it off, he stands by it. Yeah, I mean, it's so outdated. It's so 20th century looking. But anyway, we've discussed that. What do you make of what Clay says that that the key to solving Colin Kaepernick is to pop him real good a few times?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I only asked Clay a little bit about. I didn't listen to his interview or whatever, but I think they might have taken a little bit out of context. But I mean, when I heard whatever this is supposedly a big deal going around, whatever he said, and I guess Coach Harbaugh responded with something. I mean, all it made me think of was that it's time to play some football because they can't come up with any more storylines. I mean, this is really, if someone tells you that we need to hit the quarterback, is that news? I mean, you tell me they're not going to try to hit Aaron, so I don't think it's really a story.
Yeah, but it is a story, and here's why, Hawk, is because
okay.
I'm telling you right now, Hawk, dig. You remember what happened in January in Candlestick Park, right? This pistol was unstoppable last year. I've spent this whole offseason asking everybody under the sun, and I ask it to you now. What else is the solution? The only people, everybody says the same thing. It's unstoppable. You can't stop teams from doing it because of the numbers of it. It caves the one side of the line, and the athletes are good enough to defeat the defender. So what is the people who say, oh, yeah, you can take it away. You just have to hit the QB hard and break his will. Is that basically what it comes down to?
I mean, sure, you can try that, but that's the thing. The offensive coordinators have plans too, so they know what teams are going to do, and they know they're going to try it. So it's going to be a little bit of a chess match, I think, especially early on in the season. And so we'll see. I mean, we have a huge test Sunday out in San Francisco to see if we can slow the Niners down and stop it. But when, like you said, when they have those kind of athletes running it like a Kaepernick, and then everyone else around them, yeah, I mean, they're going to make some plays, but, hopefully as a defense we make more.
Yeah, that's you, though, Hawk. You're going to be the guy who Colin Kaepernick's running at. Does that give you nightmares, the thought of that?
Well, obviously he's a big, fast man, but that's this league. That's the NFL. Everybody, you never get a week off. So I'm excited. Like I said, they got us last time we played them. They took it to us. So it's up to us to try to find a way to stop them now.
Who's the hardest QB to tackle?
Oh, geez.
And can't consider it all, because there's Roethlisberger, who is big, and even if you hit him, he doesn't necessarily go down. Or then there's Kaepernick or even Tony Romo, guys like that are shiftier.
Well, yeah, like I've watched Ben forever since he was in college. Roethlisberger move around. He seems to kind of have those guys have something. They got eyes in the back of their head. They know how to step up and get away from guys. But I'm going to take one way back for you. Go back to college. Penn State, Michael Robinson was the quarterback my senior year, and that guy, you know, he just finished up with the Seahawks, but he's still someone will pick him up for sure. He is a monster. That's why he was a fullback and special teams ace for them. That guy has one of the hardest things ever, and I remember taking him on a few times on the sideline, and it was not very enjoyable.
But we should lead into the Big Ten. What did you think about the opening weekend of college football here?
I mean, I think the Big Ten looked pretty good. You know, I'm obviously pay more attention to the Ohio State game than any others. They played pretty well. I think Braxton Miller looks great, and the defense actually looked pretty good. So I'm excited. You know, the Badgers here in Wisconsin got a nice victory as well. So those are kind of my two teams I follow the most.
Yeah, that's right. Because your wife is from Wisconsin, right?
She is not.
She went to Notre Dame.
But I live in Wisconsin, Dameshek. So
that's the whole thing.
I'm a Wisconsin fan.
That's where Green Bay is. It's in Wisconsin.
I gotcha. So you know, well, he's trying to curry favor with the locals. Of
course.
Yeah, that's right.
You should try that once in a while. Instead of coming out and inflaming all the local fans out here, you should embrace them.
I won't do it. I'm not going to root for the Lakers. I'm not about to do that.
You could be a Clippers fan.
You don't like who do you like then, Dameshek, if you don't like the Lakers?
Listen, NBA, I just sort of enjoy it from a distance, but I guess I could root for the Clippers. That's all right by me. They're fun to watch. Anybody but the Lakers at this point. I think they're an unlikable bunch. You like them, Hawk?
I've always liked the Lakers.
Really?
I like Kobe. And you probably hate the Yankees, too, then, don't you?
Of course I hate the Yankees. What do you mean?
Man. Oh, jeez.
Wait, are you a Yankee? Are you a Lakers-Yankees fan?
I'm a Jeter fan and a Lakers fan. And honestly, the last time I've watched more than two pitches in a baseball game, I was probably in the 8th grade playing in the game. So I don't really follow too much. I'm a Reds fan. I grew up pretty close to Cincinnati, so I love the Reds. They're good.
Well, I'm a Pirates fan, Hawk, so that's that. The Pirates sit atop the division.
So you feel pretty good about yourself now. I'm sure you slacked off for the last 15 or 20 years. You hadn't been following them until this year, right?
You're right. So
pretty
what?
Much.
So what? Is that wrong in your book? Does that make me a bad fan? I'm not a sucker. I'm not going to sit there and watch a bum team.
Well, you're a bandwagon guy, but I'm okay with that. As long as you admit it, I don't care.
I don't.
If you own it, then I respect that.
I don't own it. Listen, the team wasn't trying to win. Why do I have to sit there like some sort of a chump and continue to waste my time and possibly my money watching them if they're not trying to win?
Hey, you have a right to do that. Now they're winning, so you're back.
That's exactly right. I don't have to answer to you or anyone else, Hawk. Now listen.
You're no fan.
How dare you? No, you're a sucker, Rank. You continue to support teams, look, you like the Halos. They try to win games at least. At least they spend money and are making the effort. Then you can embrace that. The Pirates were making no effort whatsoever. Why would I continue to support that? I'm not going to stand by that. I'm not a chump. All right, listen, I'm sorry about that, Hawk. I didn't want you to have to hear that. What about
I like the fact that he's I wish we would have known sooner because him and I could have talked Lakers all this time.
Oh, yeah. All right, maybe we'll have time for that, but I want to talk college football, and then we got to get back to NFL. Real quick, what do you think about this tournament coming up next year? I can't wait for this. This is going to be the best thing in sport, right?
I think so. I mean, people have so many issues with the whole BCS system, and so do I. I think it's great to let the teams kind of duke it out. I'm excited to watch. I think it's going to be super exciting. So they want to, people want to argue about who's the best team always, just because they haven't had that type of tournament. Now they're going to do it. So I think fans are going to be really happy.
Yeah, it's going to be good stuff. And your team is lucky enough to be in the bum division with Illinois, Indiana, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue. That's your competition to at least win your division of the Big Ten.
Northwestern is in there.
No, that's the conference. They're on the other side. There are good teams on the other side. The only good team is Hawks Buckeyes. You should
who set that
If you
up?
go undefeated, do you deserve to be in the national championship with your lousy schedule this year?
Yes, 100%. What do you mean?
Well,
lousy, they're not playing. I'm not going to throw any other topics out there and throw anyone under the bus, but I understand what you're saying. The Big Ten, some teams have been down recently, but I think they're coming back.
All right, well, we'll see about that. Anything you want us to keep our eye on as we go into the Big Ten? Like I said before, I say again now, Big Ten makes no sense, obviously, with this many teams. It needs to become the Big Teen, you know?
Yeah, you're right. It's going to eventually be the Big 25 problem.
I know. I think that's a pretty clever thing that you're not acknowledging that I turned Big Ten into Big Teen because it's a number in the teens now.
I did. I loved it when you said it early on when I first got on the call. I was impressed.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just wanted the
He was being polite.
Can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask you guys something?
Sure.
Please.
I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on Johnny Football's antics. I thought you guys have a fresh perspective on that.
Ooh, now we've been challenged. Rank, do you have a fresh perspective?
I appreciate what he does. You know what? Texas A&M is not a program that I've really gone out of my way to watch over the last, my whole life. But now I want to see what Johnny Manziel's up to. I like it. You know, I feel like these guys, Texas A&M is profiting off this guy. They're selling his jersey. He sold a couple of autographs, maybe, allegedly. Good. Go do it. And then, you know what? It's kind of plus I root for all the bad guys in wrestling anyway. So, of course, I like Johnny Manziel. Oh, yeah, by the way, Hawk, I was backstage at Raw in Anaheim, and I was wearing a Fandango shirt. And he came walking by. He did a double take, turned and came up and started talking to me. Cool guy. I just thought you'd like that. Thought I'd throw that out there now that he made me think about it.
Did he speak to you in character?
No, he's got a Boston accent. It's so you're like, wait a minute. He's just it's so weird to see. I mean, basically these guys are actors. And he comes, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, hey, my name's Adam. He's like, what are you doing here? And we started talking Patriots and Red Sox and things like that. You're like, I didn't expect that to happen, but Fandango, normal guy.
That's right. That's awesome. It's good to hear.
Hawk, I'll tell you this about Johnny Football. He's a creep. I love a trash talker. I love a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder. The on the field trash talking and everything amuses me more than anything else. Everybody looks for any excuse, whatever it is, week to week in our society, whether it's Hannah Montana or whatever else. Everybody loves to get up on Mount Pius and wring their hands about the end of our society. But so he's a creep. But the problem with him is signing those autographs and taking money is, if assuming he did that, is that obviously he can make whatever money he wants. I don't take issue with that. And of course, college players should get paid, and he should have the right to do that. But as it stands, doing that, he jeopardized the whole program. All those guys on the team with him, he could have been like, yeah. And I know he's the reason that they are relevant. But if he gets them if he gets them on probation for the year, then or even himself ruled out, then that costs the whole team a chance of making a big time run at the BCS. Then that's pretty selfish, no?
A team that would easily turn its back on him if the situation was reversed.
But he's playing with the guys in the locker room. It's not I'm sure he doesn't really care about A&M's legacy, but he does care about the guys in the locker room, I would think. No, Hawk?
I think so. I think you guys have I wasn't even thinking about the off the field stuff when I asked the question. I was thinking just this. I was watching. And the thing is, I never really watched much of him last year, so I didn't know a whole lot about him. But of course, I tuned in and tried to watch him this week. And with the whole signing, the fake signing thing he was doing, and the get money deal he did after his first touchdown, and then getting flagged. I was asking more about that because the announcers were going super hard on him, just saying how he's got to grow up and all this stuff, and I just kind of disagreed with I think they sounded like old curmudgeons, because that guy, just from doing that, I promise you have no idea the amount of fans that kid has in NFL locker rooms. We love watching that guy play.
Isn't that right? To me, that's exactly right. See the forest for the trees. It's fun. It was funny that he's doing that. So then why then did I hear earlier this week that there are a lot of guys in NFL locker rooms who resent RG3 and all the attention he's been getting over the last year?
Oh, I have no idea about that. I don't know. I mean, whatever. I haven't heard. It's not like anyone in our locker room sitting there talking about resenting a guy like that. I think people, for the most part, if guys are comfortable with themselves, they don't have an issue with other guys getting a lot of credit or a lot of publicity. I think it's more of a jealousy thing if you hear anyone talk about that.
So all right. So it is cool. I mean, what do guys say about, like, who's the most controversial guy in the NFL right now then? I mean, T.O. was it. Do you guys from a distance, when obviously they're not in your locker room, would you guys sit around and laugh about, like, Ocho Cinco or T.O. and say, good thing that guy's not on our team?
No, not really. Guys don't really look at it that way, I don't think. There's so many characters, I think, in the NFL that are around the league that I think as players we kind of recognize it, and at the end of the day, it is I hate that cliche I just used, saying at the end of the day. I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. But my coach has been saying it. Winston Moss keeps saying at the end of the day, and it's stuck in my head. But I don't think anyone has an issue with it or sits there and talks about it. Oh, we don't want that guy. I think if a guy has a reputation for being a bad teammate, then yeah, no one wants him. But the thing about it is, a lot of guys that may say, maybe from the outside in, look like they might, be a bad teammate or whatever. A lot of times, that may have a bad option. A lot of those guys are really good teammates and play really hard and are great to the guys in the locker room. Maybe for whatever reason they're not real receptive to people outside of the locker room, and that's what gets some guys a bad name.
Yeah, but outside he has a great reputation. Nationally, he's a pitch man for a lot of big products. But in the locker room, apparently, Aaron Rodgers, not such a nice guy.
Who told you that?
Greg Jennings, that's who. No, I don't know. I'm just curious about that.
No, he didn't. Greg didn't
well,
say
he
that.
made it. What was the exact quote? Didn't he essentially imply that it's Aaron Rodgers and then he is such a star that all the rest of us fall by the wayside? Wasn't that essentially the spirit of his comments?
I have no idea. I don't ever read anything directly. I get it from whatever people tell me, like you guys.
I see.
You guys are basically where I get all my information from around the league. But no, that's crazy to think that Aaron gets along with every single guy on the team. Everyone loves him.
All right. I'll take your word for it, Hawk. You're a straight shooter. Yeah. What about this then? Shoot straight with me on this subject. I think you guys have a miserable schedule. I think you guys are as talented as anybody, of course. But when I go through your schedule, it's miserable. You go at Niners, of course. Then you go the Redskins at home. Then at Cincinnati. What a miserable way to start the year, huh?
No, see, I mean, I view it a little bit differently, just because, this is going on my 8th year, and I realized that, honestly, it doesn't matter who you play. Everybody is good. And so when the schedules come out, and it's like a big deal, and people all around town or wherever ask me, oh, what do you think of your schedule? And I'm like, honestly, man, I haven't even seen it yet. And so I don't sit there and go through game by game instantly and analyze every single team, because we've beat teams we shouldn't have, or people didn't think we'd beat, and we've gotten beat by plenty of teams that people thought shouldn't have beat us. So I've really kind of gotten away from that. I just watch my own game film on them and like to give my opinion of what I think from that tape, and not from everything forward.
When you said that you play no bad teams, I had to quickly check the schedule to make sure the Raiders weren't on it, because I was going to disagree with you for a moment. But Terrell Pryor, a guy from Ohio State, is going to be starting for them. What do you make of that?
I mean, good for him getting an opportunity. I feel
what a ringing endorsement, Hawk. Good for him.
The only reason I say that is because I feel for the guy, Matt Flynn, behind him. I was here in Green Bay with Flynn for a long time and really good friends with him. So, Flynn going from Seattle, and obviously Russell Wilson stepping in and playing so well, and now Terrell Pryor. I don't know. I think Flynn's had some elbow issues, I guess. Haven't talked to him, but it's, Terrell, obviously, if you look around the league, teams love these quarterbacks that can run, not only pass, but they can run, and Terrell is one of those guys.
It seems like at the end of the day, like, Matt could look at Russell Wilson and be like, all right, that's cool, I get that. But Terrell Pryor, like, what do you do at that point? You're like, yeah, I'm getting paid. It just seems like a catch-22. It's like, you're still getting paid, but when am I going to get my chance? It seemed like a great opportunity for him.
It did when he went out there. I don't know. That's a good question. You guys need to call Flynn. I should send you his phone number, and you guys can call him and try to get him on the show.
Send us his number. I want to talk to him, because he's got to be. He must have some complex emotions. Really, I mean, he makes that massive. And, look, he has that one great game, and then off of that, it's sort of like Scott Mitchell a generation ago. He has one big game, and all of a sudden he gets a lot of money for that. Good for him. But then 2 straight years of being like, yeah, I'm going to be the number 1 QB there, and then not getting it. On the other hand, though, like we've talked about on this show before, there have got to be some guys in the league, Hawk, that are kind of like, hey, I'm fine to make the paycheck and not get hit. I'm happy to be the backup QB, not the starter. True?
Oh, I'm sure there's plenty of guys like that. But the good thing about here in Green Bay is they recruit some guys that care about football and want to compete. So I don't come across too many people like that. But of course, that's happening everywhere.
All right,
that ended my high school football career. Is when they told me to take off the red jersey and go play a position. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go. I gotta go to basketball practice. I'll see you guys later.
It's good. It'd be healthier for your brain to go play basketball.
I always say that, too. I mean, if anybody told me, of course they wouldn't, given my build, but if anybody ever said, like, yeah, you got to play offensive line, I'd be like, forget it. I'm not doing it. Even in pickup games when we were growing up and and you would have enough guys that you would actually have an offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going home if you expect me to be the offensive lineman. No way. I'm the QB or I'm going out for a pass. No way I'm doing that. Who would want to be an O-lineman, right?
Well, I think those guys are all kind of thrust into it just by sheer genetics alone,
right.
how they're born. They're big boned, so they know from day one. Like, my son's 7 months, and he's the complete opposite build of my daughter, who's almost 3. He's just a little chode little meatball, and everyone was just like, oh, this guy's going to be he's going to be an O-lineman. Because I play football, they don't talk about him as a person in his name. They say, oh, man, he's going to be a good nose guard. He's going to be a good center. I was like, all right, whatever.
It's insulting almost.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get a golf club in his hand, get him swinging.
Yeah, listen, glass half full way of looking at it is it's a good thing that the kids aren't reversed. It'd be worse if your daughter was a meatball, right?
Hey, I say that all the time. My daughter is very happy about that, or my wife is very happy about that.
They never reverse that on there because, if the girl's big, they're like, hey, she's going to be the anchor woman on the sorority tug-of-war team. They never say that. But for the kid...
They don't. That might give a girl some problems as she gets older. She might have daddy issues if she hears that.
Real quick, Aaron Rodgers, obviously, to me, the best QB in the game. Are we going to see – just don't jive, though. Are we going to see a lot of Eddie Lacy this year and maybe Jonathan Franklin? Or is it going to be close to a 50-50 split, or is it still number 12 carrying the load?
Jeez. I mean –
Tell me the truth, though. That's what I want.
You want me to be a straight shooter and tell you the truth. I have no clue, and I don't think everyone involved. I think the game it's going to see how it goes and how the game evolves and how much success we have early in the year. Obviously, running the ball, but Eddie's a monster. That guy is. I think he's added a new dimension to this team. Same with Franklin and James Starks as well. We have a lot of guys that can carry the ball, so I think we all want to be able to run the ball, and I think we should be successful with that. But on the other hand, at the same time, like you said, we have Aaron Rodgers, possibly the best quarterback in the world right now, and it's hard to take the ball out of his hands.
What about the thing that people say? I don't mind saying it to you. I'll say it to your face. People say, well, the defense hasn't been good the last couple of years. What do you say, 2013, Packers defense, vastly improved, one of the best in the league, or adequate enough for us to go deep in the playoffs at least?
Well, obviously I'm not going to say adequate.
I know you're not, but I want you to be a straight shooter, Hawk. You always have been.
Don't worry, I'm not offended by that.
All right.
We definitely haven't played very well over the last couple of years, especially late in the playoffs. But no, I expect big things from us as a defense. Our Coach McCarthy always says that he wants the defense to lead the team, and we want to be a physical defense and make plays, and that's our plan, obviously. And we have a lot of things to, I don't like to call anything, I don't like to say we're out for redemption or whatever. We're not about that. We're out to come out and be a lot better than we were last year, and especially late in the year. This is Green Bay. Our standards are set a lot higher than different places, and we're not happy just getting to the playoffs. We want to go all the way. All
right. We'll let you go. You're so generous always with your time, Hawk. Rank, and you always kibitz about TV. Rank, you have any questions for Hawk on the fall TV schedule?
Homeland. What do you think's going to happen there coming up?
September 29th or something? Is that right?
Yes.
something like that. Well, all I saw was that little. I saw the little preview thing when I saw Brody has a shaved head and everything. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got to be on the run because the whole thing set up with his family and everybody seeing him as a traitor and everything, and that Claire Danes has got to go out and clear his name like that. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it goes. I like the way that it ended. It's one of those few series. Like, I don't know if you watched Dexter, but Dexter, I was one of those Time Warner people who lost Showtime and CBS and all those shows, and I missed out on Dexter, and then I started rewatching it, and I'm glad I missed it.
Really?
It's been terrible.
Oh, geez. See, my wife was big into Dexter. I hadn't really ever seen it, so she loves it and thinks it's amazing.
What about Breaking Bad?
See, I am very sad to say I have not even seen Breaking Bad, not one yet.
Listen, you stay focused on the 2013 schedule, but as soon as it's over with, Hawk, that's your first order of business. Get all the seasons.
My dad honestly was texting me like a week or two ago and telling me, like, I know everyone tells you this, but I got into Breaking Bad on Netflix, and it's amazing. And so I know I need to start it. Maybe I'll start it on our long flight to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, that's
There
a
you
great
go.
call. That's a good call. And, and your dad, I know he has good taste. He watches Breaking Bad, and he likes listening to this show, so that's terrific.
Trust me, he'll hear this. He'll send me a text at some point with his little jabs and what he thought went well.
What did he think of your singing when you and I did that beautiful duet of Michael Jackson?
I think he was embarrassed, and he was probably mad that I didn't really go with it.
Yes.
But he also knew I couldn't match your intensity and your passion because you're so good. And my dad was probably mad that he didn't get a chance because he thinks he's a good singer, and every time there's a mic, he gets up and sings Elvis.
How do we? Let's get him on.
All right, that's it. We got to get
open
Mr.
invitation.
Hawk on here ASAP.
That's his name, Pistol Keith Hawk. I'll let him know. At some point, he needs to get on there, and he'll believe me. He'll be so. The thing is, he'll say he's not, but he'll be so nervous that he would sit here and he would just like rattle off stats about things, and he would try to act like he's relaxed when he'd be the opposite of relaxed. He would honestly probably jot down bullet points of what he was going to try to talk about.
So be it. If that's what he needs, that's what he needs.
At least somebody on the show would be professional enough to do that.
Black tie, first order of business, getting Pistol Pete Hawk on the show. I love that name, by the way. My goodness.
He'd probably put like a suit or a tux on just to call in, just so he's kind of more professional.
Hey, I'm suited up right now. Yes, that's the way it should be.
Uh-oh. All right. We'll have to try to get him on sometime. He'd love to.
All right, Hawk. The only two questions I have left for you, and then that's it. The questions we've asked many players this offseason. You know, it's a long wait between February and now. I'm going to ask you real quick. One, if you could only eat one color of food the rest of your life, what would it be?
Green.
Green? That's incorrect. That's the wrong answer. Green, what are you going to eat after you get done with your asparagus and mint chip ice cream?
The mint chip ice cream, that's garbage.
What, you choose green and you don't like the best flavor of ice cream, which is mint chip?
I wasn't thinking mint chip, but I just threw a color out there, because what color is chicken? All I eat is grilled chicken, so pale. That's my color.
Pale, yeah. I guess so. You go that either white or yellow.
White, yeah.
What an That's what you eat. That's what it takes to be a pro football player. That's another thing. Offensive line or eat only pale food. I'm out. I don't want. I wouldn't. I'm not committed enough. Also, the other question is, if all the mascots in the NFL, and I don't mean the guys who wear the costumes. I'm talking about the actual thing. The lion and the bear. If all of them got into a fight, who would win? Not a Packer, I'll tell you that. That's a box Packer.
Oh, my goodness.
Or a meat Packer, or whatever it is.
All of them got... Here, I'm going to go real corporate on you. If all of them got in a fight, obviously I won't go with the Packers for you.
Well, it couldn't win.
Not exactly something you could put your finger on. I would say Brutus the Bucko would step up and take them all down.
I like it on one hand. On the other hand, that's incorrect and that's ridiculous. Bucko.
What's the answer then?
It's a Titan. A Titan is a god. It's immortal and it has lightning bolts. You can't kill it. Ergo, that's the winner right there. Now, if you did it with all the sports, I think somebody said to me, I think it's the sun because, the Phoenix Suns, because it's, Well, how could you beat the sun? And even if you did, and then somebody said, well, what about a wizard? The Washington Wizards. A wizard could cast a spell on anything. Yeah, guess what? Wizard, you turn the sun out, you turn it all out. If the sun goes out, we all cease to exist. Ergo, sun is the winner. How say you?
I guess. I mean, you're really going deep with that, but I would say you're right. I mean, I grew up a Phoenix Suns fan, didn't I? So, yeah, I'll take the Sun.
Okay, good. So we're in lockstep there. Listen, Hawk, we will be rooting for you in San Francisco. I think you got a raw deal having to open the year in Candlestick. That's pretty rough. But we wish you the best. Go get him this year, and we hope we can kibitz with you and Matt Flynn and Pistol Pete Hawk at some point very soon.
All right. Sounds great, man. Thanks for having me.
Dave, dee-da-da-da-da-da-don't, Dave.
All right, there he goes. The great A.J. Hawk. We wish him the best, right?
Absolutely.
It's one of those things, really, that NFL players, people always say that, people who have been covering the NFL for a long time, they say, yeah, you ask them, who's your favorite team? They say, I really root for guys now. Mm-hmm. It's really more about the teams. And it is true, and I don't know if that's actually a good thing or not, but it is, for better or worse, that is the way it goes. You meet guys, and if they're on your favorite team, you're kind of like, you're not such a great guy, and then you sort of end up resenting that team, and then you end up liking players on teams that you are supposed to dislike, and it gets very murky. But A.J. Hawk, clearly a fun guy to root for, and the Packers, I think, are one of those teams that America can kind of root for.
For sure.
Based on what they stand for. All right, a guy who roots for the Miami Dolphins and their new uniforms and their young QB and their big-ticket additions, a guy who hails from London, England, but he made the trip across the Atlantic some years ago. He is now our resident Miami Dolphins football fan. It is Handsome Hank.
He's Handsome Hank from England, handsome from England. He's Handsome Hank from England, handsome from England. He's Handsome Hank from England, handsome from England. His name is Handsome Hank. He's Handsome Hank, he's Handsome Hank, he's Handsome Hank.
Hello, Handsome. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you, Dave. Excited. Football's back at last.
It's terrific news.
It's been a long wait.
Yeah. I went through, I made the projections. You joined me on the last show. I told you that I think it's going to be the Patriots that win that division. I had a hard time knocking down the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk quickly about that, fellas. What do we think? Rank, I start with you. What do you think? Is it the Patriots?
The Patriots. The Patriots are my pick to go to the Super Bowl for the AFC.
Oh, really? You're going that far?
Going that far. Anytime the Patriots are pushed up against the proverbial wall, for lack of a better term, when they're out to prove something, when the Patriots were in the middle of that Spygate scandal, they ended up going 18-0 and reaching the Super Bowl with everything that happened in the offseason, with the big names that left, with guys like Wes Welker going to the Broncos and everything like that. We're going to see a huge year out of the Patriots. They're going to be better than ever. I'm not saying 18-0, but they're going to the Super Bowl.
Handsome,
wait. I just got to say something, guys, because the Patriots are your Super Bowl pick. You're making them out to be such a great team. When the reality is, the AFC is just a weak conference.
Yes,
they're not
that
good. They just don't have that. They don't have.
No, that doesn't really go against that doesn't really support your point there, Black Tie. Right?
I know, but to make his point, he's making them out to be a great team as opposed to saying, "Hey, they're just in a weak conference." That's all I got.
I say this, Handsome Hank. I feel like while that's true, what Rank has to say there, I think there's some validity to it, except for the fact that the vast majority of those guys had nothing to do with that undefeated season. That's in the rearview mirror. Tom Brady's that much older. Bill Belichick, some questions about what the Patriot way even means at this point.
Right.
It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors, really. I think that talk is rhetoric. What matters is the players on the field more than anything. How say you there?
Well, I mean, I'm probably got the number wrong because I'm pulling this out of thin air, but I think the number is 88% of Tom Brady's receptions have gone from last season.
Right.
So 88% of the...
I think it's 91 when you
91,
include Gronkowski.
There you go. So, I mean, that's a major thing to overcome. I don't think the defense is a whole lot better than it was a year ago. You've lost all of Tom Brady's weapons. We know the stories about how he makes guys great and all that stuff, and it looks like from what we've seen in the preseason, for what that's worth.
Meaningless, do not read into that.
Right, but it looks like if you wanted to read anything into it, it looks like there may be some players here who he has worked with, and they may get up to speed to some extent at least. But I think a lot of people are kissing the Patriots into either a conference championship game or even the division championship. By the way, I picked them as well, so I'm guilty of this myself. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as it has been maybe in previous years for them when they've had.
Why not your Dolphins?
I have a major question mark around the offensive line. It's actually not around Jonathan Martin, which was the one that we all kind of coming out of the draft, certainly, and all the time when they were trying to trade for Brandon Albert, or that's what it seemed like. That seemed like it was the question. I don't think they run blocking particularly well, again, from the preseason, so all those caveats. I think right guard is a major issue for them. They need an upgrade there. So if they can't run, then I'm not sure that Tannehill manages to take the steps that we all expect from him, because a lot more pressure is going to be on him.
What about Warren Sapp's comments that Ryan Tannehill is going to equal or outdo what Dan Marino did in 1984? Where in the world? And listen, obviously I love Sapp and I love Marino, but I should say I do like Marino, but also I think Ryan Tannehill was a little slept on last year because of the bigger breakouts of some of those other rookies last year, and I think he's positioned to have a really good year, but it's going to challenge Dan Marino's records? This seems insane, right?
Well, yeah, it does a little bit. But look, you've complained on the one end of the spectrum about bold predictions and how Fabiano's out there saying Adrian Peterson's going to have 100 yards rushing this week. Those guys as well. I think that last year, and I'm fortunate enough, if you look at it that way, to watch Game Day Morning every Sunday. I come in here at 6 a.m. Pacific and watch that show. Not a single bold prediction came true last year. I mean, so they're just going for, like, whatever sticks.
That's true. Bold predictions are great to make because no one's going to remember if you're wrong. But if you're correct...
Really? Because I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, no, inside Studio
bold.
66.
That wasn't bold. That was your actual AFC West pick. And then, like, right now you're saying the Patriots will be in the AFC Championship game.
Like Larry Fitzgerald, I'm always good in the odd-numbered years.
A rank. So, like I say, NFL.com/Shek, S-H-E-K, you can see what the projections look like I've said a million times. I feel like power rankings are fun, but the thing that is essential is how these teams are going to seed out. Rank, who do you have in, let's say, who are the two teams per conference that get the buys?
The Texans and the Patriots.
All right.
On the top, I guess because the AFC is always
By the way, let
top.
me just say this, too, about that with the Patriots. Here's the other thing that's going to knock them down. They're going to get to the playoffs. I think they'll probably end up winning that division. I do say this is the last year that they'll do that, though. I don't think they're going to that this run continues forever. I think they'll just sneak by. To Black Tie's point, I don't think that makes them a great team. They're good enough to win a mediocre division. But I think the Bills might be good, too. There's a chance with the offensive piece. Robert Woods is good, and C.J. Spiller. I like those guys. And E.J. Manuel, again, how many times must we be burned by this idea that, well, he's a rookie. How good could he be? He was inaccurate. Who he's a lot like is Roethlisberger and Dante Culpepper. Big arm, not exactly accurate. Runs around as a big, physical, tough runner like that. He could be good. And their defense, to me, seems like it should be all right.
I'd feel better about E.J. Manuel if he wasn't hurt for the majority of the preseason. That's the one.
Fair enough.
They could be a slow start. And then in the NFC for the bye weeks, I look at the San Francisco 49ers, of course, and I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints.
Ooh, the Saints. I backed off the Saints. Handsome and I talked about that the other day. And the Saints, all summer, I thought they're going to do it. This is the story. It's going to be a great story. And I can envision in January thinking, like, what does the NFL think? And, what if Commissioner Goodell has to hand the Super Bowl, the Lombardi, to Benson or to Sean Payton? What will that moment look like? Remember back, I'm sure you probably don't remember, or at least younger people won't. I was a big deal in 1980 when the conversation, what if Pete Rozelle, who's had massive headbutting with Al Davis over the years, what will that be if he has to hand him the Super Bowl trophy after all their arguing and everything? Mm-hmm. And it's the same sort of thing. So I can kind of see that, but I just don't think their defense is going to be good. I think it's that simple. And I think if they lose to the Falcons in week 1 at home when everything seems to favor them, then I think we'll have a pretty fair sense that they're a fun team. But
reference my actual bowl prediction for the season.
That's right.
Last podcast. Go back, listen.
Yeah, we did make our bowl predictions there. Well, I'll tell you, Rank. Although it would be nice if you had gone back and listened.
It would be nice.
Sean Payton will be the Dallas Cowboys coach in 2014. That was the
what?
Prediction. Yeah, that was it. See?
Bold.
That was what the listeners' reaction was, too. All right, let's real quick, fellas. Help me out here. We have up there, thanks to our friend Black Tie behind the glass, he has set up for us at NFL.com a weekly pick'em game. Wait, Handsome Hank doesn't like that. You set it up, huh?
I think Black Tie, I told Black Tie I'd done it, and he went, oh, cool.
And you took
that
the credit,
counts
Black
as setting
Tie.
it up in Black Tie's world.
Why did you take credit for it then?
Because it's what I do, guys. You know, I do as little as I can, and I
he didn't even seem that interested.
No,
when I told him, he was like, "Oh, okay, what is that?"
In all seriousness, Hank, we spoke about it, but prior to that, I already told you, Shaq, that we're going to set this up. But Hank has it displayed now as we're part of the experts right now, guys. So this is big time. So
all right,
your picks are going to be known.
Thank you, Handsome Hank. Then so me, Rank, Handsome Hank, and even Black Tie, although I now feel like his name should be stricken from the record.
Elliot Harrison as well.
Elliot's jumping in,
too. It would be on, because...
Elliot is going to be on the podcast during the
season as well. He's going to be a regular on our second episode, which, can I get into some programming notes here?
Get into programming notes.
All right, let's do it. Starting next week, we're going to be... Our first podcast of the week is going to be on Mondays.
So it'll come out Monday nights.
Yep. Monday nights reacting.
Monday afternoon. So
Monday after the Monday nights. Yeah, reacting to the games. Hot. Adam Rank, Dave Dameshek, obviously, unfortunately, and then
what? I mean, I don't understand.
Hopefully a few more
unnecessary.
Hopefully Daniel Jeremiah and the likes, and Brian Billick, guys who are going to be around in studio. NFL Network talent, the NFL Media Group, and then on Wednesdays, because Rank is such a big NFL TV star now, he won't be available for the Wednesday show, but Elliot Harrison will be available.
Why is that?
He will be on NFL Fantasy Live. He's a busy man. Actually, that might be his off day. Handsome Hank obviously would come in when he can, when he's not busy, putting some obscure Dolphins on the homepage. And then
everything comes with some cheap
what's
shot.
All the salt today, Black Tie? This is a happy day. It's the start of the NFL season.
Exactly right.
And you sound salty like it's mid-June.
Sunday, guys. Let's calm down. It starts on Sunday. Also, a player guest on Wednesday. You know, guys, we get some players in here. AJ Hawks, the Ryan Clarks, Dwight Freeney's, Alfred Morris, our buddies. We get
Terrence
them in
Newman.
Here. Terrence Newman, T. New, we can't forget him. Maybe some Russell Wilson. But yeah, so that's it as far as programming.
You can go back and listen. I told Terrence Newman's pal Geno Atkins there in Cincinnati that I was considering putting his team into the Super Bowl. He was underwhelmed by that, so I took the Texans instead. Maybe if we had talked to Terrence Newman in advance, it would be the Bengals. But I say it's the Texans playing the Atlanta Falcons. Your Super Bowl champion for 2013, the Atlanta Falcons. All right, real quick, let's get to week 1 here. So we got again, NFL.com, and look up in the among the groups there at NFL Weekly Pick'em. Look in the experts there, and there you will find the Dave Dameshek football program link. Sign up, join us, play. My picks are loaded. Rank, I assume yours are in already?
They're coming.
They're coming.
It's on the blog, NFL.com/pick'em. You can search DDFP. Don't search hashtag DDFP, because some fans already started one, and thanks for that. Just join the official one, which is just DDFP.
Oh, good. So, yeah, DDFP. All right, let's make our picks. I picked Denver for Thursday night. That one's in the book, so maybe I'm already 0-1. Who knows? Next up, New England at Buffalo, and Buffalo has a couple of times early in the year taking care of the Patriots when they're up there in northern New York. Mm-hmm. I could see E.J. Manuel. This is a lot, though. It's his first game, and like you say, Rank, maybe if he had played the last 3 weeks, I would think differently about this. But, boy, his first game action is against that team.
And Doug Marone's making his NFL debut as a head coach. You don't think Belichick is willing to just – that's going to be a 50-burger.
Do you think so?
He's going to go run up the score on him.
I feel bad. I say the Packers are a team that it seems like any objective football fan can get behind because of the fan base and the atmosphere. Buffalo's the other one. You ever go, I've said it before, Rank. Oh, yes, today is the day where you have to make your official announcement of what team you've chosen.
All right.
We'll get through all of these, and then I want you to make your official.
I bet it gets cut out. Black Tie will be like, nope.
The Bills, to me, should have been a prime candidate because those are your people, man. They love it. Oh, it's so great to be up there. They tailgate literally for 3 days. They get up there and tailgate for 3 straight days. It's some atmosphere there, and the team has not rewarded them for that sort of loyalty of late. And by the way, I'm not going to get into my argument with Hawk. I felt that was an insult for him to get into me like that, like I'm a front runner, like I'm a bandwagon guy.
He was right, but
I'm absolutely not. I have a certain standard of what I want out of my teams, and that's right.
I was going to say my eye rolls can't be seen by.
Oh yeah,
listeners.
no, I can't see your eye rolls. They can't. I don't care for them. All right, I'm taking the Patriots as well. Seattle at Carolina. Guess what? Right out of the gate, here comes Dameshek's upset special. Carolina Panthers defeat the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow.
How say you, Handsome?
Well, we know that the Seahawks don't like to travel across the country. Sometimes that's what lets them down. I remember
they
a memorable...
barely survived last year in Carolina. I was at that game.
Right. So I picked the Seahawks because I think that's a team where when you have the expectations they have going into the season, they know that week 1 you have to win. That's the biggest cliche in sports. Let's move on.
Pete Carroll does pretty good in week 1 against teams he should probably beat.
He does?
If you
How
look,
do you know? That's right.
When at USC, they'd go and they'd beat they'd beat Arkansas all the time. They'd go to Virginia
Hawaii
and win. They wouldn't. No, that's a Lane Kiffin
thing. Yeah, you're
thing.
right. When he was there, I don't know how that translates.
They did go to Hawaii at least once for the first game with Pete Carroll.
Oh man, I don't
like 2005 maybe.
I'm not.
That's an interesting point, but I don't know how relevant how that translates.
I think it's about how he prepares his team. I know they had Auburn one year, Arkansas. Like these SEC teams stopped playing him because of that. And then Virginia
they beat Ohio
was one.
State, right? Wasn't that
Ohio
was
State was one
in Columbus?
I thought that was in L.A.
That was Matt Barkley's freshman season.
They had one. Oh, they went to Ohio State and won. And then when Beanie Wells was a freshman, they beat him there too.
That
Hawaii
was
might have been
Carroll's
in the
last
mix
year,
still.
right? That would have been Carroll's final year there.
I think so. Yeah,
that was a big win. Anyway, point is
he does well in the. Obviously there's no Oregon States here.
Speaking of SEC, I say Cam Newton shows up in this game, and it's the dawn of a new day down there. They have a good defense, I think. I know you're high on Carolina, Rank. I'm surprised that you say Seahawks. I'm taking Carolina. Cincinnati at Chicago. I took the Bears, and here's why. I think Cincinnati is, as I've said umpteen times, is a really good team, talented and all that. But I think the toughest, as bad as I feel for, let's say, Green Bay having to go into San Francisco in Week 1 and Atlanta having to go into New Orleans, those are tough, important playoff games that could affect playoff seeding in Week 1. That's tough. But the toughest preparation is obviously for the Redskins and for the Bengals going up against Mark Trestman and Chip Kelly. Who knows what they're going to do? I mean, they're not just new coaches, but they're apparently going to be innovative and be optimistic, saying, revolutionize the way things are done. How would you possibly prepare for these guys? Look at CFL tape if you're Cincinnati. True. Literally, what do you know that Mark Trestman's going to do other than that? I think that's tough for them, and I don't happen to think Marvin Lewis is the greatest in-game coach anyway. So I'll take the Bears in that one. Miami at Cleveland. Handsome, I turn to you on this one because this is, again, another new coach in Cleveland. A lot of people are, including Rich Eisen, his bold prediction on the last podcast was that they go 9-7. I don't think that's insane. I think that they could be a good team. How say you now? Miami on the road.
I've picked the Dolphins to win on the road. I think the Dolphins have to win this type of game if they're going to have the season that again is expected of them, sort of get to 9-7 or 10-6. I think the game opens with Mike Wallace catching a 70-yard touchdown. Joe Hayden is standing with his hands on his hips, mouth agape, going, "Wow, man, those jerseys are clean."
It's a very specific.
That's what he's going to be saying.
I think that Cleveland is going to win. I like their defense overall. I think they're going to get pressure this year, and I think I like their corners now. If Brandon Weeden and everybody, the assumption is that everybody loves trajectory and patterns in trajectory and what we see as a whole, and specifically last year's rookie class. Well, they're all great. Well, Brandon Weeden wasn't great, ergo he's not. They should have replaced him. Well, listen, maybe it takes him a little bit longer to get up to speed, especially on a crummy team. Those other guys had the benefit of being on halfway decent teams. I don't feel like Brandon Weeden got that. Norv Turner, what he does best is push the ball down the field. That's what Weeden does best. Right. And I think that they're going to be good. Now, they do lack their best receiver in Josh Gordon, so that's an issue.
That's true. I think that he could well end up being good, but I think if you say that the Browns' defense is going to be good, the Dolphins' defense is going to be great. That's a top 10 defense this season.
All right, bold, I guess, but probably playing a little bit of homerism, as much as a British guy can be a homer for South Beach. Minnesota at Detroit. I take the Vikings. Again, we assume Cinderella story comes out of nowhere. They come back to earth this year, the Vikings. I say no. They have the best running back in the game. They have the best defensive end in the game. They have a lot of good players all around there. A stout defense, and Christian Ponder's the question, but I think they're not a bad team. Detroit may not be bad either, but that's a tough game to call. I give it to Minnesota by a hair rank. I
like the Lions in this game.
Do you?
Reggie Bush is going to add a dimension to an already great offense. And then if that defensive line for the Lions can just come together a little bit, that takes so much pressure off the secondary.
It's the New York Giants effect. It's not like that secondary was ever great, but they had such a mighty pass rush that it was moot. Mm-hmm. Oakland at the Colts. I don't think we need to talk about that one. Kansas City at Jacksonville. Interesting again. I am going to take Jacksonville for the upset here.
I don't even know if is that definitely an upset.
Oh, well, I don't know by the people who assess such things, but I will take. I think Kansas City on the road again. I like the Chiefs this year, but Gus Bradley coming down from Seattle. Again, he might have some tricks up his sleeve defensively. That's the big question for them. I do think that Jacksonville's offense could be pretty good, but their defense should be lousy. I don't know. At home though, first game of the season, hot and sticky down there. That would suit a Florida team playing a team coming in there. I'll take the Jags. I don't know. I'm just playing a hunch here, Rank. How say you?
Chiefs. I got to go back to my Chiefs. Alex Smith there with Andy Reid and Chris Alt helping out that offense. Dwayne Bowe, Jamal Charles. There's a lot of stars. There's a lot of stars on that defense, too. When you look at the number of Pro Bowlers the Kansas City Chiefs had last year, they just needed some quality coaching. They're getting it this year. The Chiefs are going to be making a push towards the playoffs.
Oh, by the way, I have to say something, Rank, and Handsome. I got to get your moral opinion on what happened. I forgot to lead the podcast with this. We had my big ticket fantasy league.
Oh yeah,
the other night.
Who was kicked out?
Well, I'll tell you about that. It was Cousin Sal.
Oh, thank goodness!
The
Finally.
guy who created that. I want to get your opinion on what happened there, real quick. Though, let me get through this. Tampa Bay at the Jets. Another one we don't have to talk about. No, Tampa Bay going in there. If they're ever going to win the game, the Jets. This is a good one for them to win. But
Tampa Bay.
But if the Jets don't win this game, then it will immediately start to get scary. And Rex Ryan might not survive the year. If they don't win this game, things can snowball in the wrong
that's
direction.
what Rex Ryan wants.
Yeah, maybe.
He's in his Costanza mode. He's going to put on the bodysuit at some
he can
point.
come over to the NFL Network for 10, 12 weeks, kibitz about what's going on, get hired by the Raiders in the offseason, and there you go.
Isn't that just the biggest automatic?
That's the way it's going. That was my bold prediction. Atlanta at New Orleans, unstoppable offenses. I say Atlanta's offense better than the Broncos, better than anyone else's. By the end of the year, we will talk about this Atlanta Falcons offense as one of the very best in the Super Bowl era. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I think we will look, and statistically and otherwise, they will just be this juggernaut offense that just obliterates teams.
It's going to be very good, but don't underestimate the Saints and the mode. I'm trying to use this expression without using an expletive, but I just can't. The Saints are going to go into full-on grudge mode, and they're going to start running up the score on people as well. It reminds me of when the Saints opened the season a couple of years ago after Katrina, their first game back, the Steve Gleason game. It's going to be the same type of atmosphere. We were down in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. We know how that town felt.
Boy, they're
about
crazy.
What happened.
Yeah, it's a pocket. It's mostly SEC country in the Southeast, but New Orleans, pro football rules. They love those Saints down there.
That place is going to be bananas.
I know, but if Atlanta goes in there and wins that game, then the message shall be sent to all the league. This team ain't jive. Because that's the question about them, even though they were a play away from the Super Bowl. I still think we sort of have a perception around Matt Ryan and the team in general. Like, I don't know if they got the spine for it. I don't know if they got the backbone.
That is exactly correct. As you know, I was born in Atlanta. I went to school there. I've seen Matt Ryan for years, and he just doesn't have that extra oomph.
I'll tell you what it is. It has to do with the place gets loud, that stadium, but there's this thing. The NFL is second place to SEC football there, and they play in a dome, and they can't run the ball, and their defense isn't great. All those things rightly sort of inform that perception, but I think it is changing, and I think like I say, they also could have been in the Super Bowl last year, and then we would already think of them quite differently. I say they send a message to the league. Handsome, who do you think wins that game?
I'm picking the Falcons. I think, you both said it, the two high-scoring offenses, but I think the Saints defense is going to sort of set the tone for their season, and it's just going to be bad, basically.
Yeah. Tennessee at Pittsburgh, I'm taking the Steelers as a home, or the Steelers. I mean, if they can't win at home in the first week of the season, will prove what a lot of the naysayers say about this team, that they are not going to be better than 8-8 this year. I don't know. I think they're a third-place team this year. I think Bengals win it, and the Ravens are barely better than them. I could see Tennessee, who I have in the playoffs, in fact, going in there and winning this game. Although it's a home game, Steelers do well early in the season. Take them. Handsome.
I agree. Steelers.
Rank.
Steelers.
No reason to, nobody's excited about my Titans pick. I think the Titans go to the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's excited about the Titans outside of Tennessee.
Well, that's it. You know why? Because they also are in SEC country. I think there's something about that. You think more. They're not the first thing you think when you go talk to the locals there. Like, if you go out there on a Friday and they say, "Hey, and they hear my voice or whatever, they know I'm not a local. They'll say, "Oh, what are you in town for?" And I'll say, "Oh, the game." And they'll say, "Oh, are you going up to Georgia? You're going to go and check out the Bulldogs?" No. I'm here for the NFL game. Oh, that one. That's the first thing on their mind. Now, maybe that colors things. Arizona, St. Louis, Rams go to the playoffs this year. I said it before. I'm going to tell you again. Jeff Fisher, in his second year, no one talks about this, and yet he is one of the great coaches of the last quarter century. And he got them to be much better in 1 year. Now what's he going to do in year two, now that you've injected some electric playmakers? Rank. I know you don't want the St. Louis team to do well, but consider they're going to be playing in Los Angeles in a year or two.
Nah, I'm not sold on Jeff Fisher. Go look at his record. You know what? Dial up the Pro Football Reference or whatever and look at Jeff Fisher's record. It's not overly impressive. There's a lot of years he didn't make the playoffs, and now this team just kind of he gets them to be decent. They're meandering. Arizona, Bruce Arians, he showed what he could do with an NFL offense. He showed what he could do when he's given the chance.
Fascinating game, that's for sure.
I mean, he comes in, he took he basically took that Colts team to the playoff. He was, for all intents and purposes, he was the head coach of that team last year. He got them motivated, moving, all that stuff. God, it's Arians.
I think that's true about Chuck Pagano, too. He didn't coach, really, the majority of that season. This is essentially his rookie season, so we'll see what he can do with that defense. If he can improve it, they'll be good.
Just a quick, this is a sneaky good game. I'm kind of interested in this game. It's like NFC West. We're all talking about the 49ers and Seahawks. You and I picked the Rams as a wild card team in that division. But I like the Cardinals as well as a dark horse team. I think that they could be a good team. This is... we talked about the other rivalry games, that Falcons-Saints game early in week one. This is an interesting game to me.
I just want to round it out pretty quickly because I want to tell you guys this story. Green Bay at San Francisco. Hate to say it to Hawk, but I'm going to take the Niners here. Wouldn't be stunned if it goes the other way. Anybody got the pack here?
Nah. I want them to win, but
Giants at Dallas. I think the Giants have a chance. I keep asking the question, who's bad in the NFC? I think the Giants might not be good this year. Their defense is bad. Their defense might be just downright atrocious, and if that's the case, then Eli Manning is not good. It will be a little exposed. He's always his successful years have come along with having a really good defense. I think Dallas wins that one. Philadelphia at Washington on Monday night. I'm taking the Eagles for the reason I said earlier. I don't know how you prepare for a team that you have no idea what they're possibly going to do. In the short term, I think the Eagles are going to sort of come out of the gate and people are going to be in awe. I think that'll be by the end of September, I think people will be like, oh my goodness, can you believe this Mike Vick and what Shady McCoy and Deshaun Jackson. That's why I took Deshaun Jackson and Shady McCoy in my auction league. I spent for both of those guys because that's how much I believe in this offense. The defense, not so much, but they will go into D.C. win there. RG3's first action in forever, too, by the way.
Yeah, if you're watching this, or listening to this, rather, after Friday's NFL Fantasy Live, I predicted that score to be Eagles 45, Redskins 42.
Ha! I mean, it could be. We don't know how ready to go RG3 is going to be. Annually, we have at least one guy who you can hold up if you're a player at the front end of training camp. If RG3 has a good game on Monday night, can't every player be like, come on, coach, we don't really need to do this. We don't need this. Come on, how much do we need it if RG3 can go out there and do what he did to the Philadelphia Eagles on September 2013. Speaking of which, the Houston Texans, they're going to roll the Chargers. Mike McCoy probably will do some good things, but I don't think it's this year with that crummy O-line. And to the point, I think Arian Foster is fine. I don't have any concerns about his health. I think that they are a team that probably looks back on the last 2 years and says, you know what, for about 80% of both of those 2 seasons, we were the best team in the conference, and it amounted to nothing. Let's try to keep ourselves good and fresh and peak in December and January rather than in the middle of the year.
That's why if you're playing fantasy, this is why you shouldn't have taken Arian Foster. Ben Tate will come up and be a great flex option.
I think the same thing's going to happen in Seattle, too. Marshawn Lynch is dynamite, but it's that offensive line that makes him go, and I think Kristen Michael's going to be good. I don't think it has as much to do with that. I think the contenders have realized it's a long road to hoe. Guys get hurt more than they used to. I think we have to keep our key, guys who take a physical pounding. We got to take it easy on them so that they're fresh when the games start to really matter.
Can we
disagree with that?
No, I don't disagree with that. I just want something clarified. If your name is spelt Christine, you're just called Christine. You can't change the way that that's pronounced. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Like, there are unisex names out there, but he's called Christine.
Your problem is, it's not that the boy's name is Sue. It's that you're pronouncing it Sui.
Exactly.
Right.
Let's just roll with it. Your name's Christine. It's cool. We're all, we're all grown up. We can deal with it. I mean, people are going to snigger a little bit, but that's fine.
Kristen ain't exactly an upgrade from Christine anyway.
That's true.
You're still calling him by a girl's name. Either way, to me, he looks like a man. He's a big man.
There's no doubt. If you watch him play, he's definitely a man.
I always say that's you either rise from that adversity, same as Boy Named Sue. Johnny Cash tells the tale.
Exactly.
The guy got tough because he had a girl.
Because he was called Sue.
Same sort of thing.
Right.
Or you crumble, which is what would happen to me. I already did.
Diana.
I wasn't even named a woman's name, and I already am a shell of a
Davina.
Now listen, here's what happened. So there are your picks. NFL.com, Ddfp is how you find them. We're going to give out a prize, too. I think Backpage Press, our pal Corey over there, who makes the T-shirts for the Rank Amateurs, for the Czech Republic, and so on. I think he's also working on one for the Ddfp. Well, let's give one away every week. I think he'll be down for that noise.
Every week?
Yeah, backpagepress.com. We're not going to give away a T-shirt at the end of the year. That's not much of a prize.
And then I think between whatever it is, 5 of us, there probably should be some kind of a prize for the champion, and then something for Black Tie when he comes last. Some forfeit.
All right, let's figure that out.
Speaking of, while you were announcing your picks, Dave, I could see Hank's computer screen. He was just changing them.
I changed one.
Changing all of them. He was going pick by pick, listening to what you were doing, and making his picks.
Now listen.
That's shots fired at this point.
Quickly, let me tell you this story of what happened. So as I've talked about, I'm in a fantasy league, and each year, Sal 5 years ago decided, here's what we'll do. We'll kick out the winner of the previous season gets to choose somebody and kick them out. Night of the draft. You can't give them a heads up even by an hour. They have to show up there and then face the humility of getting kicked to the curb. It's awful. I haven't experienced it yet, but they're just like Survivor, somebody got a bug in my ear, and somebody said, I have heard that this is the way it's going to go down, that the owner and the last year's champion got up there and said, hey, he just had his second baby, it's a little girl, I just don't have it in me to hurt someone's feelings tonight. I can't do it. Instead, I'm going to turn it over to the league. Everybody do, like in Survivor, write a name on a card and hold it up. But it'll be confidential. Nobody's going to see your vote. I didn't like that. That's obviously going against the whole purpose of doing it, is having to kick somebody out. But either way, so that's what he said. And somebody got in my ear with, listen, let's form an alliance. And if enough of us do it, then we're all safe. Well, that made sense to me, except that the person who they wanted to kick out was Sal. Sal is delightful. He's a mixer, and he's a delightful fella to deal with. And so if you kick him out of the league, then you're taking a big part of the fun out of the league. On the other hand, I don't want to get kicked out of the league. So I'm sitting there, and I know that there's this alliance where you could go Sal and kick Sal out. Mm-hmm. And I was running late, which was weird for me. I don't usually run late for things, but I was running late. I got up there, I ran into the room. They're like, all right, here's Shaq, let's go. Everybody here's what we're doing. So everybody goes, and we all start making our votes. And as the system by the guy Craig who won last year, as he lays this out, immediately Randy, last year's guy who got kicked out and he jumped off the fire escape and all that, which you can see on Grantland, the video of that, he turns away from me and towards Sal and Simmons and Hench and goes, we're voting Dave, right? Like that. But not loudly, not like he was putting on a show so I would hear it. He just turns on me and goes, we're going Dave, right? Like that. So then I think, they formed an alliance to kick me out.
Another faction.
Oh, wow.
So now there are those four guys. Well, now I'm not going to stand for that. And then there's another guy who is a sweet guy named Elliot, who everybody likes to make jokes about, whatever, because he's a bald-headed lawyer and stuff, and so people like to take shots at him.
He kicked out John Hamm.
He's the guy who kicked out John Hamm 2 years ago. Yes, memorably kicked out Don Draper. So I figured, well, I could just vote Elliot because I thought if I just vote Elliot, he's going to get kicked out and that'll be fine. But then when Randy says it's Dave, right? I figure, well, now it's now I got to save myself. I played the best of the ugly hands available to me, and I voted Sal. Then they pull it up. Randy did vote for me. He did vote for me, but the other guys did not. There was no alliance. I'm just being paranoid, I guess, or I don't know why Randy said that then. And in the meantime, me and three other guys vote for Sal. Elliot gets 3 votes. Sal's out of the league now. And now it's a big controversy, and on some level, yes, Sal deserves to get kicked out.
Right.
It's his concoction; he deserves to pay the price. But on the other hand, it's cutting my big nose to spite my face because Sal's more fun in the league. You see, and now I have to deal with that. Not to mention, I'm sure there are repercussions for this too. Then Sal postscript duped me into admitting that I was one of his voters by texting me and saying, "I can't believe you did that to me." So close to Rosh Hashanah, and I said, I know I feel horrible, and then I realized, why did I respond that way? He's trapped me, but he didn't know who actually had voted him out.
Oh.
So anyway, that's the story. Morally, did I do wrong? Rank, I start with you.
Nope, because you've long said that if you ever win that league, which is highly unlikely. The point was,
I have a good team. I'll tell you about that in a second.
The point was you were going to vote out Sal because he was the one who came up with this, and at some point he has.
If I won the league, he would be in the top 2 no matter what right out of the gate because he invented this terrible thing.
He has to be the guy that goes because of he's the one who came up with this whole thing. But in all honesty, kicking out John Hamm, Elliot, and we're not talking about Harrison, we're talking about a bald lawyer. He's a man because he stepped up and made the pick that he really should have. The fact that all of you guys, there is no better person to kick out of that league than Bill Simmons. And this isn't a personal knock on him, but about his stature and about how much run you would get out of it because
he would be mad. He wouldn't talk about it. That's what he would do. He wouldn't publicize it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he would just ignore the existence of it. Then.
But so many people, so many high-profile people would be able to talk about it that he couldn't ignore it. Because then Matthew Berry would get wind of it, and then it would be a whole thing, and he would have to acknowledge it.
It's interesting. I don't know. I hate the system. I don't like it. I don't want to play this game. But who really is at fault is Randy, who voted for me.
Right.
Simmons, who voted for Hench, I think. Or there was a vote for me, there was a vote for Hench, and there was a vote for Simmons. If those independent random votes that weren't a part of anything, if any one of them had voted for for Elliott, then that would be the end of it. He would have been out of the league.
You're saying you are blameless in this.
I'm not blameless, but I am saying that
you voted for something, now you feel guilty about it, and now you're blaming other people for not voting.
That's my
the opposite thing.
I just told you. I told you 5 minutes ago I'm a shell of a man. I'm not, nobody accuses me of having character. Now
we might start calling you Christine.
So you think I did wrong by kicking Sal?
No, I don't think you did wrong necessarily. I think that you may have done wrong in trying to get out. It's trying to slide out of this one as if it wasn't your fault, and other people should have voted for someone else so you don't look bad.
And in all honesty, you should have bitten the bullet and taken the year off, just because it would have been great fodder.
Right?
For
he
other
wouldn't
things.
accept it.
Can you get voted out 2 years in a row? Because I think
you cannot get
it would be
kicked out
kind of
2 years
funny if someone showed up again and was like, "Guys, at last I'm back," and they're like, "Actually, no, you're not."
Yeah. It can't. There is that minimum standard of decency.
It should have been straight up relegation, anyways.
Last place.
I understand the whole thing of making the first place the champion, giving them the honor of kicking somebody out, but straight up relegation. At least everybody's blameless and it keeps people motivated to keep playing throughout the entire year.
It's very dramatic, though. That's for sure. When you show up there, you are racked with nerves. It's horrible.
Why is that fun?
No, I don't think it is fun. That's why I say every year, let's stop doing this hokum. But no, people who like it.
You have 13 people now.
And Sal loves it.
You'd have to kick out somebody permanently.
I know, and Sal loves it. And so, on that level, I say, well, then, I guess this had to happen. Everybody's number eventually has to come up, I guess. So this is his time to sit out.
Death, taxes, and being kicked out of the league.
I just better win this one, or else I'm in trouble. I better win this season, or else I'm going to be the first. But why would I be? I didn't put the alliance together. I had nothing to do with it. Now listen,
you
very
need to
quickly.
out that person.
Here's my team. Let me tell you, my sole goal in fantasy this year, load up on good running backs, and in an auction, obviously, it's harder to pin down. It's not like you're just following a snake order. You have to jump on these guys. I paid big money, $200, whatever you call it, cap.
Yep.
I gave $59 of that money to Doug Martin to join the team.
Wow.
Then I gave $53 more to Shady McCoy. Now, that's a big percentage of my overall thing, but I got 2 of the top, 7 or 8 running backs? I feel like that was pretty good.
Not bad. Who's your quarterback then?
Colin Kaepernick for $17.
$17, wow.
And then how about this? And then see if you play it
6
just right.
6 points for passing touchdowns or 4?
4. But then Andrew Luck was there, and it was that phase. And if you do these auction leagues, there's just ebbs and flows to it. Well, Andrew Luck was sitting there at $5. So I said, all right, Andrew Luck for $6, and then I got him for $6. So now I have Kaepernick and Luck. And you would think, you'll just be able to trade him, but I don't know that he's going to be such a trade asset that somebody's going to give me great.
Not in a 10-team league.
So I got Ahmad Bradshaw. So he's my third back now, and you only start 2 running backs. So I have a backup in case one of those 2 guys goes down. Plus I got Bryce Brown. And by the way, I wouldn't be stunned based on what I said about Chip Kelly if there are weeks where I start Shady McCoy and Bryce Brown. I think that offense is going to be running and running. They're going to rotate him out. I can see both those guys playing and being viable starters.
Kelly ran the ball 65% of the time when he was at Oregon.
Yeah. So I like that. And then I fought where it comes apart a little bit for me is I get Vernon Davis as my tight end. That's pretty good. And then I go Deshaun Jackson, Hakeem Nicks, Josh Gordon, and Sidney Rice are my 3. So out of those 4, 3 of those guys have to start for me. I got Marcus Wheaton in case he emerges in his rookie year.
Okay.
Does that sound good to you?
Sounds great.
All right. Doesn't sound good to Sal.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Let's wrap it up there. Football is underway. By the time you're listening to this, the game is either going or it's already wrapped up. The game is in the books. The football season awaits. NFL.com/check. Go there. You can see how I seed them all out there. Go to NFL.com and find Adam Rank there. He's got all sorts of good stuff, fantasy and reality for you there. And, of course, make sure you don't miss him on NFL Network 5 days a week or 6 days a week, kibitzing at 4 p.m. Eastern about fantasy football. On
5
NFL.
p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Eastern, I'm sorry. On NFL Fantasy Live, and then, of course, you can find that on NFL.com. Handsome Hank, I wish you all the best with your Dolphins this year, And then I'd like to say the same thing to Rank and to – oh, you didn't make the big announcement.
See, he's
Black
already...
Tie has no team, so who cares about him? And Rank, you didn't have a team, but you're making the big announcement. You've decided to embrace a team. We talked about it in the summer of Rank.
Mm-hmm.
Who's it going to be? Who is going to be the team you support this year?
Can I explain it a little bit? Do I have a little bit of time?
Please.
It won't be a long story, but like Dave, do you want to stay in? If you got to go, you got to go. I know Hank's going to go. We'll talk about it later. It's fine. If like Dave likes to say a lot that when he's here doing the podcast, he's nude. You're exposing yourself to everybody.
That's right.
And I don't know how much I've talked. If anybody's ever picked up on this or anything, but both of my whole family was Chicago Bears fans. They're from. I was actually born in Chicago. Moved out here very young. My dad was in the Navy, and a lot of my family members. You talk about my parents and everything. They're gone, and don't mind putting that out there. But they're gone, and so my nephew, who is now of legal age, who grew up a Bears fan, he's going into the Navy, or excuse me, he's going into the Army, and he asked me for all the family members and for everything if I would be a Bears fan. So I'm going to do it. I'm going with the Bears.
That's so lame. No, that's a beautifully sentimental thing to do. I love it. You were solicited by many football players to root for their team, but instead you went with family, and I respect that, Rank, and I love it, and I say go Bears as a result of that. All right, Adam Rank, what a pleasure. Good luck to your Bears then this year.
Thank you.
Unless they're playing my Steelers. Same goes for all your teams out there.
And thanks to everybody who, put out pitches. I know the Chiefs had a strong push. I know Brandon was a strong advocate of the Browns. I loved them all. Wish I could root for them all, but I'm sticking with family.
You're loyal to the Chicago Bears now.
Got to do it.
From this day forward until the Rams move to L.A. at least.
That's it.
Or the Chargers. All right, well, let's wrap up. We guess we can't wrap it up because there is a surprise. I didn't want to tease it at the front of the show there, but there he is. Black Tie, are you responsible for this? No, I know you're not.
Look,
there he comes.
Can I take credit for it, though?
Yes, you'll take credit for it, of course. Look who's coming into Studio 66. A man. Well, let's bring him in here.
You're listening to Dave Dameshek.
Well, look at this. Coming into Studio 66, Adam Rank, we watched him play with the San Diego Chargers and dominate. Then he went up to Buffalo. Now he's here at the NFL Network. He has been all week on Total Access with our new pal, Dan Hellie, who, by the way, what a handsome devil. Did you get a load of that guy?
He's a little too handsome. I sit right outside of his office, and it's a little It's a knockdown to the ego every day. Just when he walks by,
icy blue eyes, that square jaw.
I don't care for anybody who challenges me in the blue eye department, and I feel that I'm not even a contender in this one.
No, I know. I don't know how to feel about him because
he
seems
Sean's
nice.
really loving this, by the way.
He seems nice, but I don't. I don't like another guy coming in here, yet another soul to distract the ladies from Dameshek. All right, listen. You're right. You said he's come into Studio 66. He's now taking a seat. There he is. Lights out, Sean Merriman. What's the poop, fella?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Well, listen, how bad could anybody be? It's football season, right?
Of course.
Well, what's that like, though? It's your first time not in a football season preparing to get out there on the gridiron in what? It's got to be 15, 20 years for you?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, other than me practicing my pass rush moves on the way into the studio. But it's fine because I'm still around the game. As you said, I'm around in the show all day and with LT all week and Willie McGinnis. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than that. So I'm just up with a bunch of cool guys still talking football.
Yeah, it's good. It's good times. Who do you vibe to now? You just leave Buffalo, and I feel like there's some good tidings there with you and the team, right?
Oh, it's great.
Do you root for them or do you root for the Chargers if you had to?
It's still both because when you get in that locker room, you become lifelong friends with these guys. It doesn't matter how long you play there because you go through the training camps and the off-season programs, and you really get to know guys. You get to know their families. You get to know the organization and their families, and you have this tie. And it is a business aspect to it, don't get me wrong, but you separate the business from the people that play it. So I still have great ties with both of them. I still have great ties.
What do you think about, we were talking about Buffalo as one of the, if you don't have a football team to root for, that's an easy town to get behind because those people line up for 3 days to tailgate. It's insane, but it's fun.
It's nothing like playing out there. And I can say that from playing in San Diego for 6 years and going out there for 2 years. when I went there in the middle of the season, they were 0-7. Had no chance or possibilities of going to the playoffs, and it was 12 degrees outside, and guys are still out there with no shirts on, 75,000 deep. So when you go out there and you see that kind of fan base, it was one of the main reasons of me re-signing to go back out there. I mean, you don't get that kind of backing, that kind of fan support in too many cities like that. Maybe 3 or 4 that supports you that much.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about them this year? Could they? I mean, I know you're not beholden to EJ Manuel. You have the guys that are like family, but you don't know that guy. So can he make that team relevant this year?
From what I've watched, I think he can, and he seems very mature and ready to come in and take that role. One thing that's going to be surprising that Doug Marrone has coached some very high-powered offenses in the past, and I think they're going to, as long as they put up, anywhere between 21 to 28 points a game, with that defense over there, not just good on paper, but going from a 4-3 to a 3-4 now, they should be able to hold offenses to 17 points or below most of those games. So it should happen.
Yeah, we talked about Chip Kelly being able to run that high-paced offense. When Marrone was at Syracuse, he also did the same. It's very similar. He got a lot of plays going.
How will that go this year? What's your pick on that? Will Chip Kelly revolutionize offensive pro football, or will he just get his when he gets up?
I don't think it's necessarily revolutionized, because when I was in San Diego, Peyton Manning, they would do the same type of things, that hurry up offense and try to let guys not be able to substitute on defense. But there's rules in place now that's kind of going to slow it down just a little bit. But with the personnel he's working with over there, with Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson and those guys who are run-and-gun type of guys anyway, who can run all day and handle that fast-paced offense. And look, every game, every coach has 15 to 20 plays is scripted before every game. So, yeah, those first 15 to 20 plays are scripted. They'll come out hurrying up and getting guys moved around, be able to substitute guys inside and out. But if a defense come and stop it early, they'll get out of that 15 to 20 plays scripted very quickly and go back to the normal game plan.
What do you think about what Clay Matthews said, that the way to stop the pistol, and I've heard this, most guys I've talked to this offseason have said you can't stop it. Trent Dilfer, Marshall Faulk, Roddy White, they all say you really can't do anything as a defense. Suggs indicates that's kind of what the Ravens even did in the Super Bowl in the first half, at least. And who else? Oh, LeVar Arrington said that, and now Clay Matthews. Basically, hit the QB really hard and make him not want to do it anymore. Is that valid?
Yeah, that whole the scheme in the defense is to get the offense out of that formation as fast as possible, and that's the way you do it. You deliver the blows to the quarterback. But one thing that a lot of people have to really pay attention to is will the refs start calling it?
That's what I say. My answer to that is how hard can you hit him if you keep getting 15-yard penalties?
You're going to go and deck that guy as much as you can, but at the same time, if he doesn't have the football and it is a clear-cut decision that he doesn't have it, how much would a refs allow that to take place? And that's what's going to be the hard thing, because I know being a defensive player, you would love to come up and take a shot at the quarterback to get them out of something that's hurting your defense tremendously.
Riley Cooper getting in fights now. I mean, this is a gathering storm. I said it about 3-4 weeks ago, and until the fight in practice, that story, the Eagles had done a pretty effective job of sort of turning the page, and you didn't hear a lot about that. It was sort of a non-issue. But what I've been saying for some time is what's going to happen. You talk about the penalties. What's going to happen when a black guy, let's say a hard-hitting safety, not Bernard Pollard, who has a reputation, because that makes it easy on the league. But what do you think is going to happen when the first guy, a black guy, hits Riley Cooper really hard, and it's on the border, but it's a real good lick? You think the league's going to say, well, we have to find this guy, because that's going to they'll get a lot of abuse in social media and otherwise for finding a black guy for hitting a guy who said something terrible.
Well, I think the league is going to stay away from anything racially motivated in the first place. This is a hard, violent, physical game, and if you got a clear shot on a guy, or if you don't, if that happens, it's up to the refs to make that call. I don't think it's going to be racially motivated at all. Now, if he's under the pile after making a block and the guy is punching him or doing something excessive, then, it's going to be called. But this is football, man. It doesn't, I think that people make things bigger than what it is. I mean, he has his own personal problems, and I think that's something he's going to have to deal with personally. I guarantee you he's hating his situation more than anybody else hates him. I can promise you that. So if a guy has a good shot on him, he's going to get hit. No matter if he's white, black, or yellow, it doesn't matter. He's going to get hit out there, and that's the way the game goes.
People say you can't really gauge that anyway. In a game, it's not like, oh, look who it is. It's that guy who I really want to hurt.
No, I mean, you
give a lick to.
You have some guys that felt a certain type of way about it. No question about that. But they want to punish him because he has an opposite color jersey, not because of what he did or said. I mean, the game. The object of the game is go out and put a hit on somebody in a legal way to anybody who has a possibility of making a big play in the game. And so if he goes up for a pass or if he reaches out and dives for a catch, he's going to get lit up regardless. And hopefully that doesn't turn into something that's a little bit more racially motivated.
Was there ever a guy in the league that you looked at and you said, well, I hope I come around the end unblocked on this guy?
Not really so much a quarterback, but you have guys in the game, especially when you can hit them play out.
Somebody running across the middle.
Yeah, somebody running across the middle. Now I'm not looking for this guy and the players away from me, but you get an opportunity, you want to strike this guy, you hoping he's the one.
Interesting. All right, it's the time of year to make picks. Give me this pick, because there's something I say is, I think the old school 30-plus-year-old guys, the pocket passers, the guys that are going to be in the Hall of Fame, Peyton Manning, his brother Eli, for that matter, Roethlisberger, maybe Drew Brees and Tom Brady. I don't think any of those guys are ever going to win another Super Bowl. I think I think that there are only so many years left for those guys. And now you have the rise of the more hybrid kind of QB, the guy who can run around. What do you go with? If I give you a choice, I'll give you all those names I just said, or I'll give you RG3, Cam Newton, Andrew Luck, Russell Wilson,
Matt
and Kaepernick.
Ryan.
If I get no, he's in the middle. So if I give you like the last 2 years of draft classes versus those old school guys for the next 2 years, who's going to win more Super Bowls? 2 years, just because I know obviously the other guys will. Peyton Manning will be
I think that really good organization and coaching staff will know that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, these guys are 30+ years old. They're possibly declining going into their career. So let's build up the defense a little bit. Let's get more offensive tackles to get them protection. Let's get great running backs in here to hand the ball off a little bit more and take the burden off of them, as so Tom Brady doesn't have to throw for 4,000 yards again to win football games or to win a Super Bowl. So these organizations are making these adjustments as the years go on, and it's not a question. The league is changing as far as the quarterbacks and what they're capable of doing, and more running style quarterback, black quarterbacks, or whatever it is. The league is changing, but it's still unproven. Because Colin Kaepernick came out and did something amazing. Now we go to a different type of quarterback. No, I mean, he can still throw. He has a cannon. Same thing with Russell Wilson in Seattle. He has a cannon, but they run a read option over there. They take some pressure off him to keep the defensive guys guessing, like we did in Buffalo when I was there, and make it hard on all of us.
Yeah, it's really an interesting thing, but the people say, well, so why doesn't everybody play the pistol? Because everybody isn't the athlete that Kaepernick and Cam Newton, those guys are. There are only so many of those guys that can do that. All right, we'll let you go here.
Wait, hold on. You got to get if you didn't know,
I know.
Dave is the official uniform monitor of the NFL.
Yes,
have played.
He knows that. Everybody knows that.
The two teams that you played for, I would say, arguably have two of the best get-ups. I would talk about the Chargers and their powder blues and the Bills uniforms while you were there. Pick one.
Good question.
Honestly, it's nothing like when I was in San Diego, the powder blue uniforms.
The black numbers on the hat.
Yeah, when we played Monday Night Football, and we had the powder blues, and we're playing a hard-nosed team like the Steelers or whoever it was. I mean, it doesn't get too much better than that. You go old school with it. The pop off of the jerseys is Monday Night Football. The crowd is going crazy. The smoke is going. So all that stuff, and then the powder blue uniforms just set it off. So I'm sticking with that.
So good, and especially in San Diego, powder blue. But you know what? It's funny you say that. That Thursday night game. You played, I think, 2 in a row, in fact, or you played them in prime time, at least the Steelers in San Diego. You and I made a bet when I was on the Corolla show. You came in and were delightful. I think it was your second year. You were dominating the league. And you came in, and I said, if the Steelers win, you have to shave my name into the side of your head, and you agreed to do it. Unfortunately, the Steelers let me down, so I had to wear a dress. But I was on the radio, so it was really not that big a price to pay.
How was that dress? And too bad Twitter and all the other social networks
wasn't
as big at the time. That would have been perfect.
So what? So I wore a dress. It would have been way better if you had my head, my dumb name shaved into your head. That would have been cooler. All right, listen, Sean Merriman, you're a delight as you were when we kibitzed, whatever that was, 5-6 years ago. Last thing, I asked it to A.J. Hawk, and then you go. If all the mascots in the NFL got into a fight, who would win? Not the people in the costumes, the mascot itself. Buffalo Bill. That's a terrible. I don't want to get into that, but Buffalo Bill is a weird. It's named after the guy who tried to kill all the buffaloes, and the city is named Buffalo. Why did they name the team after the guy who tried to kill the buffalo? It's weird. But anyway, who would win it? Giant, a bear, a lion, a jet?
Probably the Lions. Probably
That's incorrect. That's incorrect. It's
what do you think?
It's a Titan.
It's a Titan?
Well, it's a god. Throws lightning bolts.
I got to mark that one down.
But the Chargers are that lightning bolt.
So what? So he controls it. So the Titan controls the bolt.
What if the lightning bolt turns on it?
Well, I mean, if it became free thinking, that'd be kind of like Terminator or The Matrix when the computers take over and turn again. That's something to think about. But that doesn't happen until like 2019. Okay. So we have a couple years. Listen, Sean Merriman, I hope you've enjoyed yourself at the NFL Network. We look forward to seeing you here sooner rather than later. And do you agree with me and Rank? You swoon when you look into Dan Helly's powder blue eyes?
I don't judge guys too much, but y'all hit it on the head. I've been on set with him a few times.
He's a handsome devil.
He's a pretty good-looking guy.
Yeah. All right, listen, Sean Merriman, go be on your fancy TV stuff and enjoy the rest of your time out
Thanks
there.
a lot, guys. I appreciate it.
There he goes, the great Sean Merriman. So Sean Merriman, there's a nice little surprise for you. That's a nice fellow there.
Very cool.
I hope we'll see more of him around these hallways. He's fun to kibitz with.
I hope so. What's funny is my wife, Rosie McGee, when we first started dating, I had a Chargers mini plan, and she wasn't a huge football fan, so she started getting into it by going to the games and everything. Actually, she has a couple of football jerseys. The first one she ever owned, Sean Merriman Pro Bowl jersey.
Ooh, that's pretty neat. I've toyed with those Pro Bowl jerseys.
I love the Pro Bowl jerseys.
Except that they've now made them too like 21st century. I don't like when they have those weird space age kind of numbers to them.
There are some years that are better than others, and she's got a pretty good one, and she still wears it.
When you were growing up, did you always think that it was interesting how the Giants uniforms, their helmets match the NFC uniforms?
Yeah. I always
because now not anymore, but that was like in the 80s. Their uniforms looked exactly like it.
Looked like it was made for it.
Yeah,
and then the Rams blue was a little off.
Yeah, and the Bengals look terrible. Their orange hats look miserable with the red uniform. Yeah, that's the worst one. All right, listen, NFL.com. You can find, again, I'll say it, the weekly pick'em. And you go up against me and Rank and Handsome and Elliot and Black Tie and all the rest.
NFL.com/pick'em.
Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
Just saying.
Appreciate that. All right, that's good stuff. And
I'm not going to miss Wednesdays now.
And what else? What else, Black Tie? Is there anything else?
Subscribe on iTunes. Comment, as always. We're going into a new season. We had fan producer Neil Dutton tweet asking it, if Dead or Alive was coming back.
I've gotten a couple of tweets about that. People want to play Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive coming up next week then. Next Monday, I want you to have it together, right?
The season's here. It's all coming up.
Actually,
ready to go.
I can't guarantee that because we'll be reacting to the first weekend of football. I don't know what's going to happen.
Next week, we have that episode on Monday and another episode on Wednesday. We'll find some time. If no Dutton fan producer says he wants it, he gets it. That's just how it goes down.
So you hear the sound. Yes, everything is right in the world. Of course, it's not just that the Ewoks defeated the evil empire. It's that football's back, everybody. What's to complain about? Enjoy it. I say it again. Good luck to your team, unless they're playing my team. Otherwise, I hope 2013 treat you well. We'll be here for you all through the season, kibitzing about this, that, and the other. Hope you'll stick around for that in the meantime. Thanks so much, football fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.